Hello, everyone, and welcome to Vidane's coverage of the SIM500 Esports Racing League. Our gladiators are on the grid, prepped to do battle in the great Coliseum that is Bristol Motor Speedway. Welcome, one and all, to race 7 of the Transervice Cup Series live from Bristol. It's Bristol, our first short track of the year, and it's going to be a good one. Joining me, as always, is Tim Terry and Paul. Showtime, Strickland. Paul, no drafting, no clean air on the nose or downforce. It's elbows up, bent fenders, short track racing on the concrete.
And it's all driver here at Bristol. Good evening, everybody. Glad to be here. Glad you could join us here for the SIM500 Transervice Cup Series here at Bristol. A little bit different than what we saw today. It's not covered in dirt. It's its old self here, and really excited to see these boys in the SIM500 take to the old Coliseum here and do battle for do a little bit of race car fighting.
Grid is on the screen. As you see it, Donnie Leah is on the pole here tonight with his teammate Brian Macklin to the outside as the green flag drops. Leah chases him down to turn number 1, and we're on their green. It's going to be an exciting race here tonight as these drivers were on the slip slide of Atlanta last week, and it's 200 laps on the concrete here at Bristol.
37 drivers appearing to be making the field. You made mention Donnie Leah starting up front and currently running that Transervice Camry in that top position. And great looking paint scheme there. You can actually see there, you made mention his teammate Brian Macklin had a dismal season, had a great start. Won the Daytona, the first Daytona race here, the 250K at Daytona, and hasn't really had the good finishes here. Run up front for many of these at the start, but not able to kind of cap it off.
Yeah, and talking to these drivers, they know Macklin's a 2-time winner. He's got nothing to lose. He can almost assure himself in the championship, so he's going to run hard tonight. What I love, what I'm seeing right now is these drivers on the high line, on the low line, able to run too wide. As we heard, a little bit loose on setup here, but these drivers making a good show of it early on as they're almost side by side here for the lead.
And looking at those guys out in front, Kevin, they've kind of separated themselves away from a little bit of the rest of the field. And how about that third place car right now? EJ O'Rourke qualifies in the top 5, runs in third. Talked to him last week, and he scrounged up a top 10 finish after that long green flag run that we had at Atlanta. And he said, I need to qualify better, point blank. And with a racetrack here that means so much track position-wise and anything that could happen with cautions, he's got himself a front row seat to the battle in front of him. Macklin drove it into the inside of Donnie Leah trying to get there, but he can't take the lead away, at least at this point in the race.
Yeah, up in the front, they're kind of single file, but they are scrapping out in the back too wide. And one of the drivers I'm looking at, last week's winner, Pedro Mohica, started deep in the field, 26th, 27th, currently running 27th right now, side by side with the 33. And Pedro, our point leader coming in here, he won. He's in the same boat as Macklin. He's got himself into the championship, leading the points at this time. As the car goes sideways, 31 slides off, hits the inside wall. Not sure if he's going to be able to collect it up, and nope, we're going to go under green for the first time here tonight as the 31 slips off at turn number 2 and makes contact with the inside barrier.
The 31 is Eric Arnold, and he will get it righted and will be under the yellow flag for the first time this evening. 200 lap distance. Plenty of time to get yourself back to the front ball, but plenty of time to get yourself in trouble too.
Absolutely. We're going to focus in here on this number 31 here of Eric Arnold. Here, this is called beer bong instant replay, and you can see kind of gets down in there almost. It's run by himself just a little bit. There you can see Wetzel in the 9 coming up on the outside, the racing cage in number 9. And we're just taking a quick peek. You can see coming off the corner, just kind of loses the back end of the race car. And we'll give that to you in the half speed that we like to do here at Vidane TV. And it's real tough with these cars to handle, especially when they get in with a lot of speed. And with all that chrome on the outside, too, I'm sure the sun hit him just right there. Kind of got in his eyes just a little bit on that number 9 car. But there you can see the 31. Big hit in the inside pit wall there. Doesn't block off any of the racing grooves, but we are going to come out with caution lap number 1 here on lap number 12.
Yeah, Tim, we had talked about these cars feeling a little light to these drivers under these conditions. 31 got out from underneath them, and we're under caution number 1 here. Taking a look at our leader, Donnie Leah. He's had a difficult season. It's not that he has run poorly. He's qualified really well, but it just seems that trouble has found him just about every race. But here, race number 7, finds himself scoring a pole First one of the season and leading the first 10 laps early here at Bristol.
You know, we came in hot off the top of the show, Kevin, so we really didn't. We mentioned EJ O'Rourke having a great qualifying effort. Those two Transervice cars at the front, Donnie Leah obviously is a household name when it comes to not only racing in the virtual world, but also in the real world as well. Brian Macklin started off the season well, went to victory lane, got the checker flag, and then it's kind of been dismal back from that so far. But how about the guy in fourth? Good to see Doy Woods back in the Transervice Cup Series, running in position number 4. Great personality, hell of a guy, and it's great to see him back there. And, you know, we got Josh Parker, we got Daniel Falkingham in the top 10, Tyler Dalton's back there, Kyle Taraska, but, you know, you get a guy like Glenn Campbell in the Transervice number 44. He qualified in the top 10. That 44 runs in 7th. Doug Roth was consistent at the end of the week, or end of the race last week. He's knocking on the door of a top 10 run. Actually, he's in 9th, qualified 12th. So there's some names that we don't usually necessarily talk about at the start of the race because of their qualifying effort, Kevin, but Bristol, I don't want to say ultimate equalizer, but it's kind of brought some drivers towards the front that we're not used to seeing over these last few weeks.
Yeah, there's a couple of racetracks on the circuit that you either love to hate or, you know, you just somehow have a knack for it. Drivers like this track, other drivers hate New Hampshire, for example. They just can't figure out the flat surfaces, but this is a rhythm track. This is one of those tracks that you drive from the center off all the way through the corner to the front straightaway, and then you let off and just let the car roll down. It's really strange. You know, they describe it like a fighter jet inside of a gymnasium, and it has that feel to it, Tim, and some drivers, they just acclimated to that.
And they enjoy the high banks. It's a short track. You can kind of use up the driver in front of you a little bit. And with this Transervice Cup Series, there are some talented drivers that if you do knock somebody off the wrong way, they're able to save it. And it translates to a great show for us as the iRacing pace car will get ready to duck off, and we'll get ready to go back to racing with the 29 of Donnie Leah and Brian Macklin in the 30. The Transervice front row sees the green flag, and we're back underway. 15 laps completed there.
Leah cuts hard down on the banking off the turn number 2 to the backstretch. He's got Macklin on the charge on the outside, and as soon as we get in their competition, we're going to go back under yellow one more time here. Again, cautions breed cautions, and that is so true here at a short track.
We get a couple of drivers mid-pack with a little bit of damage, and we'll roll back the Kong Beer Bong instant replay and see what we can find. Paul, what do you got? Paul, what do you got?
Yeah, these microphones work really good when you push the unmute button twice and everything works out. We're going to pull up the Kong Beer Bong instant replay here, and a little bit of calamity here on lap number 18. We see the 9-car Bobby Wetzel involved and big wreck on the outside, and it actually looks like it came from 3 wide right on the start there. You can see, I believe that's EJ O'Rourke dipping on down low. No stranger to 3 wide, but you can see he gets right into the back of the
Gilliland.
Oh, that is Gilliland. My apologies. Bobby Wetzel gets up into the outside wall, slams into the 46, the 45 rather, and the 11 actually gets based scot-free. So, cautions breed cautions. Lap 18 here, caution number 2 here at Bristol.
Well, 200 laps, 18 laps into it, about 10% into the race by the time we go back to green, and 2 cautions in. Not surprising. You're going to find this, Tim, where these drivers are going to have a mix of speeds until they kind of get things settled out. But that one looks like Gilliland just trying to make something there, got underneath the 9 and misjudged the entry into the corner. And tight confines entering the corners here at Bristol Motor Speedway.
And we can talk all night long about the sense of urgency being early in the race. And I think it's Adam knowing how pivotal and key track position is, trying to get to the inside and trying to make that happen. And stuff like that is going to transpire at a short track because there's not a whole lot of room. And with 200 laps, there's not a whole lot of time to get yourself around. But if we continue to get a couple of cautions, those laps are quickly going to click off, Kevin. And by the end of the day, that track position becomes even more key than it was earlier tonight.
So drivers ride around here and collect their thoughts. They've gotten the gremlins out of the way for the first part of the start, let's look at some of the pit road chatter going on. Daniel Falkingham seems to be strong here. He won both events here in Bristol in 2020, and looking at his possibility that he wants to make it 3 in a row. And I would say has been one of the strongest drivers, Tim, climbing into second in points here. A good early season for that number 39.
Knocking on the door of victory lane, but not able to get in. That's been the mentality, I guess, per se, for the 39 car, and he's going to get there. And once I think he wins a race, he's going to win a bunch of races to come along with it. But we'll see what the 39 can do. He's still up in the top 10, plenty of laps to get it done. Josh Parker ahead of him, and they're running up there with familiar company like Doy Woods and Tommy Ryan and Glenn Campbell, and there's still plenty of laps to get this thing done and still plenty of time to move around. But the lights atop the pace car are out. We are 1/10 distance already in this race, 21. Laps are going to be completed this time by with Donnie Leah and Brian Macklin on the front row. We'll see if the patience prevails a little bit here and we can get some green flag racing in. Green flag flies. Leah took the outside line on that restart, and Brian Macklin did not go. EJ O'Rourke to the inside as they battle for second.
What jumble start there is, looks like the 99 may have gotten into the back of the number 23 there. The Bud Light can is wrinkled on that Josh Parker machine running fourth, but you can run with a little bit of damage here. Macklin trying to fix the situation as he ducks underneath Doy Woods. First start this year for Doy Woods, having a good run early on here. Second, trying to chase down your leader, who continues to be Donnie Leah here on lap 24.
Brian Macklin trying to make up what he lost on that last restart, currently sitting in position number 3. And yellow is out on the speedway, so we'll slow these cars down one more time and bring up the yellow. Oh, that's a parking lot. Pace car drives through. No harm, no foul there. But we'll go look at the Kong Beer Bong instant replay and see what happened. It looks like Jimmy Coleman was a part of it, Paul, but he wasn't the reason for the yellow.
Nope, always trying to get some TV time, that 11 car Jimmy Coleman is, and always does a great job seemingly here on Verdane TV, but it looks like it actually happened up in front of him. We're taking a quick peek here at the Verdane TV blimp over top, doing the old slow motion cam as we can. You can see a little bit of wiggle out of the back of their 38 of Chad Coleman coming out of turn 4, but nothing crazy there. And the incident happens up front, way up front. They're almost 4 wide, the 12 to 33, the 81 of the old Giller. There's the 45 getting a piece of it, the 55 as well. And Jimmy Coleman actually slowing way down to try and avoid the wreck. Gets a little bit of an assistance there from the number 31, sending him around. It actually looks like Jimmy Coleman may be retiring from this event. See, he looks like he might be climbing out of that car. So that's a tough break. It didn't really look like it was too big of a hit for the 11.
Hey, Kevin, I will say, we talk about these drivers that put in a lot of time and effort, and I don't know if we can go back to that 11 for a moment, but the paint scheme on that 11, we talk about the drivers and the teams putting in a lot of time on these race cars. That 11 car looks pretty darn sharp. Perfect opportunity to give his sponsors and his car a little bit of look there. Look at that beautiful, the green and the white and the black. They took some time to prepare and paint that race car, Kevin.
Yeah, and then matching rims and wheels. That looks really cool as everybody got blocked up there. From the lead pack, you saw some hits of those drivers, just like in earlier race today where the leaders came upon cars in the back having trouble. Looked like they stacked up the leaders there and made some contact in that. Yeah,
the pack or they were still there, per se, when the leaders got back around, but I don't think there was really any harm, any foul for those guys up in front. But we put us back under the yellow flag one more time here this evening, 27 laps. And we've seen from this Transervice Cup Series, and it's just like any series that you run, as we take a look at the mountains out back, we have some good races, and there are some bad races. And these short tracks tend to breed cautions. I know there was a couple of times last year at Martinsville where it just seemed like they couldn't get out of their own way, Kevin. And once we get some laps in and these guys start to get familiar, yes, it's Bristol, it's hard to pass, but I'm sure these guys, like last week, are going to have a green flag running them.
Yeah, we saw it last week. We had a couple yellows early, and then they kind of sorted things out in some of the races. So this is the way the cookie crumbles sometimes here, but I have faith that these drivers typically know how to get this straightened out. One thing to call out on the broadcast is there's a program in the background that makes sure the paint schemes are all synced, and every once in a while that program decides it's going to do a refresh right in the middle of the broadcast. Maybe they did an upload of everybody's paint scheme at some point, and you see the cars change from white back to their paint schemes. That's just a little update from Trading Paint, but the good news is it's all coming back, and we can see everything that is in place. You see your leader, Donnie Leah. I noticed, Tim, that the back bumper is crinkled, which means the front of the car that hit him is done, and the 07 has a back bumper that's crinkled, so they did get some damage in that. The spoiler is pushed in on that 29, but here at Bristol, that should not be that big of a deal as Leah leads the 41 of O'Rourke, and here comes Falkingham to the third position.
Falkingham moves around, and now the 41 of E.J. O'Rourke under fire from the putting pressure on the 29 as there's Doy Woods back there. The battle with Daniel Falkingham and E.J. O'Rourke side by side at position at number 3 as they come back across the stripe, and Donnie Leah continues to lead. EJ falls back in the line in behind Mr. Falkingham at position number 3. Falkingham in second, and Brian Macklin holding on to 4th. How about Doug Roth up to 6th place, knocking on the door of a top 5 run? How about that?
Roth looks racy. He's been very competitive the last couple of weeks, and that car looks like it's got a good bit of traction on it as it's getting a good launch up off the corner. Not launch. He's had his lunch. Having a good run in that Dirty Monkey Motorsports Camaro as yellow comes out one more time. Boy, it's going to be that kind of night, I guess. But we'll get through this as well. How about Leah? You got to call it. He's been having a good run here, just keeping everybody at bay. These restarts, Tim, have given the opportunity for people to take a shot, but he's been in control of this event.
Paul, it looks like a one-car incident bringing out this caution. What do you got?
Yeah, one-car incident. It looks like the victim this time around is Mike Montesi in that 45 car. And you can see here, looks like we backed her up a little bit too much. So we're going to fix that. The technology works when it wants to. But you can see as we come through the tape, just kind of single car. Comes off the turn. There's a little bit of noise in front of Mike here, but it looks like he tried to avoid it just a little bit, and the car got away from him. Kind of skids a little bit, slams the left side of that car on the inside of the exit there of pit road. So big hit for Montesi. We'll see if he can get that thing fixed. He's currently scored 34th, 1 lap down.
These drivers have 4 sets of tires in this race. I would expect it's too early for any of them to go to pit road, although some of them, I'm guessing, can duck in here, Tim, and get a little damage. We've seen Josh Parker on pit road. We see Jason Barham, Elliot Henderson. Adam Gilliland's made a couple stops as we see cars heading into their crews to pound out some of these fenders, back bumpers, and such. 45 not going to be so lucky. The front end of that car, as we showed in that clip, is missing, but the car should still perform. They could run pretty well here without the bodywork.
Should mention as well, you mentioned Trading Paints a little bit earlier, Kevin. We had our ticker kind of flip up there and show less laps than the 200. This has a 2-hour time limit set to it on the feature. I don't think we're going to get there. I've been wrong before. We're 17 and a half-ish minutes in with 37 laps completed. So, you know, you do the math. We shouldn't be at the 2-hour time frame for a 200-lap race, but just in case that happens up there and you kind of see that 200 mark go to less than 200, that's probably why.
So they're going to re-rack them and start them again. We can look at some of the season dynamics here. Adam Gilliland's been extremely strong early in this season, Tim, but just has not found any luck lately. Maybe tonight is going to be the night that he can turn it around. I'm missing a couple drivers that we typically see come through. I don't see Mike Kelly in the stack here tonight, and a couple others did not make the call, but that also opens the door for someone like Doy Woods to come in. First event tonight, and we still have a pretty good field here as everybody came out to play at Bristol.
I know we got a couple laps before we go back to green, and see if Paul can get a camera on the 10 car. Brand new sponsor in that car this week for Richard Beasley, GTR Simulations on that race car. He's still got the Tide, he's still got Tim's Corner Motorsports on it, got his Twitch tag on the back, but new colors for Richard Beasley, new sponsor on board. I know Richard was pretty pumped to work with the guys from GTR, so give them a little bit of love as Richard rolls that car from position number 12 on this restart on the outside of row number 6 alongside Joey Gattina in the 14. But Kevin, we're getting ready to go back to racing, and it looks like Donnie Lee has chosen the inside this time.
Well, that's a sharp-looking race car, going back to what you were talking about. Yeah, chose the inside this time. Falkingham, too, is outside. Could we possibly be looking at a new leader here? Leah has led since the drop of the green flag. Pace car turns left, heads to pit road. Falkingham just kind of creeping up, but Leah's going to get a good jump. He'll have a car length when they go into turn number 1.
Leah comfortably out in front, battle for position number 2. E.J. O'Rourke trying it again to the inside, but he's not going to be able to get there, I don't think, and if he can't get back up, Brian Macklin will be there. I think Macklin going to let him into line, and top 5 or so, back to single file with Doug Roth. Now taking that 5th place spot, Doy Woods stuck on the inside.
Leah chooses that high side, continues to drive up into the corner, then down through the banking off to the straightaways. You see Daniel Falkingham running middle to bottom in this thing. The progressive banking here allows them to choose different lanes out behind them. E.J. O'Rourke running the same kind of blueprint as the number 29, your leader, Leah. And, yeah, they continue to spread across the different grooves here as drivers choosing and picking the way that is comfortable for them to navigate around this concrete surface.
41 of E.J. O'Rourke to the back bumper, the 39 of Falkingham, trying to get around, but it's a little bit hard to make that move to the inside. You kind of really have to have that momentum and kind of sail it on in as you look back from personal comfort. Number 41, back to the drivers in behind him, Doug Roth, trying to make a move on Brian Macklin, but for the most part, everybody is kind of single file right now, biding their time, and don't want to jinx it. I'll touch some wood here, get some green flag laps in.
Good run for Trey Eidson, last year's champion. He's running right now in the 11th position. He was stalking Joey Gattina. Gattina able to duck underneath Tyler Dalton. Dalton got a little loose coming up off the corner, and both Gattina and Trey Eidson sneak by to take those positions, 9th and 10th respectively. It's a good run for Joey. He needs a good run. He's a solid driver, but I'll tell you what, this year there is trouble on the track somewhere along the line. They have cleaned him out so many times, no fault of his own, and that 14, nice to see it running right here in that top 10 tonight.
And a beautiful looking race car as well, in behind Trey Eidson, trying to bring his car towards the front of the field. Not one of the qualifying efforts per se that Trey wanted. Qualified 20th, now up into 10th, and trying to pick away at all those positions that he can. We mentioned that passing might be a little bit of a premium, and Trey doing a great job in behind him, as with caution flag will fly once again. Glenn Campbell, before we go and look at that caution, keep an eye on Glenn Campbell. Dropped a couple of positions, but I think he's going to have something here throughout the night as we'll take a look and try to find the issue on the racetrack with our Kong Beer Bong instant replay, and it may be the Ragin' Cajun number 9. Well, it wasn't Bobby Wetzel's fault, but I think Paulie found it.
One sec. Yeah, I had a front row seat, the 9 car did. We'll get to show that to you here. We're actually going to take a quick peek from the cockpit, because you can see the incident already happening in front of them. You can see Gilliland again, the personal comfort 81 gets spun around, and a big hit there between Wetzel and that 81 machine. We'll see if we can back that up one more time and see exactly what got the 81 in that position. Looked like they were side by side just a little bit. Well, looks like there might have been a little bit of assistance. Come up high, and the 31 kind of gives them a little bit of a boot ski and sends them on around. There you can see one of the kick-ass beef jerky cars getting a piece of it, and there's that big hit from the 9 car Wetzel. So that's a tough break for Gilliland. Already still on the lead lap, it looks like. The last car being scored on that lead lap, 33rd. So dismal race so far for Adam Gilliland in the 81 car.
I don't want to speculate, Tim, because I have no idea or any privilege to say this, but I'll tell you what, it sure looks like that number 31 was hunting that 81 on that shot.
And there might have been. I don't know if there's any hard feelings in between the two, but I'm sure with short tracks we have bent tempers, we have bent virtual sheet metal, and my buddy Nim Cross always used to say when we come to these racetracks, whatever's not bent at the start of the night will be before the end of the night, and I think that's what's going to be transpiring here with some of these cars that are on the racetrack and cars that are on pit road. Doy Woods, Trey Eidson, among those that are on pit road. You see Tyler Dalton, Glenn Campbell coming off of pit road using their first set of tires that they have sitting down there. So they have 4 sets of tires, as you mentioned, Kevin, total in this race. So those drivers that are coming off pit road, Stenzel and Jason Barham and the others that are coming off pit road, as long as they didn't take tires earlier, they'll have 2 more sets of tires sitting down in the pit area. And that wouldn't be, I don't think, necessarily a bad strategy. But we've had a few laps on the tires, Kevin. I don't think it's enough for these, I don't want to say front runners to come down, because Trey was up in the top 10, Doy was in the top 10, but these drivers that are leading the field come down pit road now.
Yeah, most of the drivers divide the race by the number of tire sets they have, and if they get to that marker and they're out in the back and not really concerned about track position, they're going to head to pit road. These drivers out front, if the tires still have enough for them to maintain position, they're not going to lose that track position, so they'll stay out. And it continues to be Leah, Bulkingham, O'Rourke, Macklin, and Doug Roth in our top 5 as we're under caution number 5 here for an incident. And I just want to be clear for the broadcast that that was just pure speculation, visual. I am making no assertions that the 31 went after the 81. It's just every once in a while you see something and you go, that kind of looked like that. But you can never tell. It's the drivers who are sitting inside those cars that are the ones that know what happened there.
But we can tell you that Adam Gilliland is no longer with us. He is buckled in and into his virtual rental car, leaving Bristol Motor Speedway. The 81 is done for the afternoon. So he will finish back in the field. But the good news is, Kevin, he's got that win. He's got 2 of those wins he's able to rely on to get himself into the playoffs. Here comes the field. Green flag flies, and Donnie Leah back on it again and leaving the field to fight for second.
Bulkingham looks a little more racy looking down there on that bottom line, and as he tried to make that run, here comes Macklin to the outside. Macklin, good charge up off the corner. He's going to secure that second position. Will he start to press matters to lead this as Bulkingham ducks in his tire tracks? He wanted to make sure he closed that gap, because I'll tell you what, E.J. O'Rourke looked like he was hungry there for third.
Trying to get that position, trying to get every piece of real estate that you can, because we've seen, especially at the front, if you're coming to the front, these passes get harder as you get a little bit closer towards the front of the field, and E.J. O'Rourke knows that. He's trying to get back to Daniel Bulkingham, but can't seem to get that run. A couple of laps, usually E.J. Gets those tires warmed up, is able to get there, but right now sitting in that position. Look at Kyle Tarasca starting to make a move in the 18 car, just back there behind Doug Roth, kind of poking that nose down there. Joey Gattina is there. We haven't mentioned Kevin Brown all night long. He's up there. A couple of drivers pitted under that caution, Kevin. It's allowed us to bring some more drivers either into the top 10 or closer to the top 10.
Yeah, and speaking of drivers on the march, Justin Fuller running in that 10th position right now. He started 34th on the evening, and he's having a good run in the personal comfort for that number 51, hunting the top side there underneath Kevin Brown. They're kind of single file right now, but you see a contest between Roth, who got up against the fence. Sparks come off the right rear as he brushes. That's going to open the door for Joey Gattina, and they're 3 wide, and it's going to be an incident. 51 got into the 93, collected the 43, and we go under caution here on lap number 61.
It looked like Kevin was going to have it knocked knocked straight again and have it saved, and then it didn't. And I was about to say the drivers out in back were working on their own caution themselves. And Paul, this is almost like a 2-incident caution, because they wrecked out back coming towards the first one. Let's take it through it.
It is, again, with the two drunk. Easy enough for me to say. The Kong Beer Pong. Check them out at kong.2drunk.net. And Kevin Brown, almost part of both of these incidents. You can see he's in the 3 wide here, gets him set. There you can see where Tim said kind of had it corrected, but then he kind of didn't. And there's a bunch of cars just kind of piling in. There's a lot of smoke at this point, so these drivers really just kind of doing Days of Thunder type stuff, where they're kind of trying to go where the wreck is or where the smoke is, and hope that the wreck was able to clear it out. But definitely a lot of hard hits back there. We saw one guy get stuck in the barrels. Mike James would have gotten a kick of that, a friend up there from on the rock there at Eastbound. But tough break for a lot of these drivers in the back, and going to be banging out a lot of this virtual sheet metal on pit road.
Can we back that up one more time and take a look at the 22 and the 8 through that? Because there's a second incident that's about to happen. Kevin Brown is that first incident, and it's almost like that second incident, Paul, comes into the first one because they were working on it. This is around where the drivers on new tires were, and I think the 22 sees what happens in front of him, but these guys were at it for about 5 laps before this happened.
There you can see just a little, kind of a wiggle out of the 22, but as he heads up there, you can see, pretty much smoke, and you can see exactly at that. The 22 kind of gets a little bit of assistance getting spun around there, just kind of easing off the throttle just a little bit, trying to avoid any wreck, but got a little bit of a punt there, and that seems like that might have been what caused that second incident.
Hey, by the time we're finished accounting for this, it looks like about half the field got a piece of that. I was just trying to take some notes on some of the drivers involved in that. The 51, the 93, the 43, the 26, the 22, the 12, the 19, the 83, and I know I didn't get them all.
And there's some drivers that have come down pit road under this caution, including, Doug Roth kind of got a little piece of that, and a few others within the top 10. So a couple of new names near the front of this field, couple in behind the pace car, but in front of the leader to hope to get the wave around with the way that they refired and got going again. But you saw Doy Woods and a couple of others back there that had just come down pit road that were running around the Nelson Rivera and Scott Simley and those guys back there, middle of the pack, just trying to pick their way through that traffic. And that's where we almost did have that secondary caution come out in behind Kevin Brown, but drivers on different strategies. Tires a little bit fresher, trying to get what you can out of those fresh tires. And I would almost anticipate if there is another caution here in the next 10 laps or so, that's probably where it's going to be, because Kevin, these guys up in front seem to have it figured out. It's those guys in the second half of the pack that are kind of on different agendas, and they come together and it's not necessarily pretty.
Yeah, no surprise for Donnie Lee and Macklin and them. They know the dynamic of the race. They've seen all these cautions. If they could stay out there and stay in front of all that mess, they can kind of preserve their cars, even though they've got some dings and dents. Pace car goes out. It's going to be up to Leah. He takes the high side this time on the restart. Again, mastering that restart. Good jump out to the high side. High side's been the place to be on these restarts, Tim.
Yeah, it seems to be you can't really get anything rolling on the inside. If you can get a decent jump, you may be able to get something started on the inside, but you're going to need a little bit of help from that outside car to make that little mistake, make that little misstep, and not give you a little bit of a gift or an opportunity to kind of open the door. Macklin is kind of, I don't want to say hung out on the inside, but that's what it is. Here comes Justin Fuller to the outside. He's going to move into the top 5.
Yeah, Fuller is going to move around, take that position. They were 3 wide out there at about the 13th, 14th position. Saw the 13 kind of treading lightly in the middle there, David Comstock and the 5 of Trey Eidson. Saw the bottleneck between he and O'Leary, the 4th, and decided to go down and just sweep underneath them, take over that position. And Eidson, he looks like he's on a pretty good charge here, running 11th. Can't go anywhere right now. They're too wide in front of him, but he might shoot the gap here, as he's got the 99 of Ryan behind him and gives a little love tap to the 33 of Byron Daly around his front windshield.
Trey has newer tires. I'm not sure about Byron Daly in the 33, but they're going to start working up on guys like Richard Beasley, who haven't come down pit road yet. Trey's going to make it 3 wide to the inside. We'll see how good those tires are off of the corner, and he'll pick up one on Tommy Ryan and then take a look at Byron Daly in the Valvoline number 33 and try to pick up one more position. But Trey, I think, is the top driver on fresh tires, and he's making them work right now. He's picked up one more spot.
I'm Henry the 8th, I am. I'll tell you what, second verse save as a first. He is charging on the bottom. What a good run he gets off of that corner, and he's just mowing him down here. Moves underneath Beasley. He's going to take over that spot, going to move him into 8th. And he is on a charge, on a tear, that number 5.
Yeah, Richard Beasley falls one position. Trey Eidson trying to pick up one more as we work a little bit closer towards the front of the field. Josh Parker sideways ahead of the 10, and he's begging for tires, I think, right now, because he's got damage on the front of that race car too. Not sure what happened to Josh, but caution is out. It's not for the 23, I don't think, but he's that car's tore up.
I'll tell you, we talked about a crunch in the beer can. He sideswiped the 30. I think the 30 came off the wall a little loose, just tapped the 23, and he chased it from about 3/4 point of the straightaway down through to the first turn and somehow kept the thing heading in the right direction. What a handful he had sliding. It looked like Joey Chitwood going through that corner.
I know Paul will try to queue up the Kong Beer Bong instant replay for what actually brought the yellow flag out, but we do have Adam Gilliland with us. Adam, it's been a horrendous last couple of races. What put you out tonight?
I think horrendous is a very good word. Probably a little nicer word that I would use. We hit everything but the lottery tonight in the brief tenure we were out there. Kind of feel like I've been putting myself in holes these last few weeks with bad qualifying efforts, and you can't come to this kind of place and expect to come from the back without getting tore up. So just got to work on a few things. I really hate how these last few races have gone. Personal comfort and all my sponsors don't deserve the results we've been getting, and especially with the team championship. So we got to get this ship righted somehow.
We've seen this series have some really good races and some long green flag runs. What is it about Bristol? Obviously, being the short track and track position being key. What is it about Bristol that is precipitating all these cautions tonight?
Well, I think two things. Obviously, like you mentioned, it is Bristol, but I am actually a little bit surprised we haven't got a green flag stretch, and usually you're good for one run here, just because of how hard it is to pass, and everyone kind of settles in a rhythm around the outside. But I think the biggest thing is how gripped up these cars are. For whatever reason, when you think of a racetrack or cars that are really hard to drive, you'd think that would produce more crashes, but it's quite the opposite. When everyone's out there struggling to go straight and struggling to drive their stuff, they don't really focus so much on racing guys, so they just, focus on driving their cars, whereas, a race like tonight when the car's so hooked up, everyone's just gripped up and trying to make passes, and, that leads to the contact because everyone's on top of each other. It's so easy to drive.
Now, you've had a couple of bad weeks, but looking at this racetrack right now, you've got EJ running in second, you got Kyle Taraska running in third, Justin Fuller, Trey Eidson. You've got some Scott Stenzels in the top 10. You've got some drivers that you work with, maybe not necessarily in that team championship, quote unquote, but drivers that you work with. It might not be your night, but how cool is it to see your teammates running well?
It's really cool. It's always great to see your teammates having success, and surprised to see Justin up there. I know he was back there with me in that mess. He got a little bit of damage, but it's always cool to see your teammates having success, and hopefully they can keep it going the rest of the night. Still got 125 more laps to go. If it's going to be like this, they're going to have their hands full to keep the cars clean. Not so sure this race has gone much better than what a Bristol dirt race would have been, to be honest.
You mentioned personal comfort. We're getting ready to go back to green. Who else is on this race car that makes it happen to get to the racetrack every week?
Yeah, just got to thank, as always, personal comfort, Gamers Trucking. You guys have a Dane, Joey, all the admins at SIM500.
Wish you all the best. Go get them next week. It's Adam Gilliland, driver of the number 81, and we'll get ready, Kevin, to go back to green flag racing with 80 laps completed.
Yeah, that conversation with Adam handles one of the stories coming in here. He said he was trying to get things sorted out and just has not had the luck. So far, the luck has been with the number 29, and we have a crash here on the front straightaway. Beasley got punted, went down, plugged the wall before he even got to the start-finish line, and we're back under caution as soon as we throw the green.
And it looks like Richard Beasley has hit a tree or something with the front of that race car because it's not looking very, very good for the GTR simulations. Number 10. And, Paul, was this all by himself?
All by himself. I'll save everybody the my singing, but yeah, it looks like Beasley just lost the tires. I know he hasn't come down pit road yet, but on the restart, jamming up through the gears, loses the back end of the race car coming out of turn number 4, doesn't even get across the line up until the caution flag waves. So that's a tough mistake out of the champ, Richard Beasley.
You know what, Kevin? I'm not trying to make excuses for Richard Beasley, but if that car didn't go back straight as quick as it did, I would have said there's a hardware failure or something there, because the way that car just darted to the left, it's almost like something steering wheel died or something hardware related happened. But the way he got that car back out of the wall and it went straight, I don't know if it was much hardware equipment as it may have been driver error.
Yeah, brain meat fart. I'm not sure about that one. It just looked like the car lit the tires. Whatever gear he started in, spun the tires. The car just made an abrupt left. Coming back to that comment Adam made about whether to run dirt or not. I ran 2 races this week on dirt, and while we've had this is the 8th caution. There were some 20-something cautions in both of those events, and I have mixed reservations because I really had a blast running those races, Tim. But I don't know, it might have been quite a challenge to try and figure that out.
To the opposite side, Paul will attest to it. We had a 50-lap truck feature. It was a little more than 50-lap truck feature here the first night the Bristol Dirt came out on Vidane TV, and those drivers put on a pretty good show. The opposite side is that it's not. I don't want to say coated like a dirt track, but if you go to an Eldora, or you go to a Lima Land, or you go to a Williams Grove, or you go to a track that's coated for dirt racing, the cautions are a lot shorter and you get a lot more racing in. With the Bristol Dirt, there's a couple of laps added in, just like this racetrack is here with the concrete. But I think these drivers, they do run, or did run at one point here, Kevin, I think in the offseason, a dirt series. So some of these drivers are a little more well-versed in dirt than others, but some of them, it's just like throwing them on a road course, or throwing them in a Lucas Oil off-road truck, or throwing them in something different that they're not used to. If it's in the series and it's in the championship, they'll run it. They might not be too happy about it, but they'll run it, and it kind of brings out that ultimate equalizer to bring some drivers that we're not used to seeing near the front of the field.
Yeah, and what I know about racing with the SIM500 crews, these guys are talented, much like we saw the Cup guys who had never run on dirt put on a great show today. I think they would have probably done well. Not for Joey just trying to get them. Gave plenty of opportunities for people to vote it in, but he wasn't going to force the situation, and the drivers chose. Some of them did it for, I think, Tim, not so much that they didn't want to run dirt, but they felt a little more comfortable from a point championship standpoint. Some of these drivers, maybe they think they're going to win here tonight, and that opportunity would have been taken away. Whatever the dynamic, we're going to see a good race here. I just believe it. We're working lap 83. We still have 100 plus on the board, and I believe we're going to get some good runs here. Sooner or later, we're just going to get there.
As the green flag flies and these drivers drive past the speed shot, you're seeing a lot more bent up race cars, virtual pixels or sheet metal bent about outside the top 10 or so. So we'll see how these drivers up front, necessarily, Kevin, haven't been the issue tonight. They've kept their cars fairly clean, except for Josh Parker's got a little bit of a crinkle on the front end. It got close between the 41 of E.J. O'Rourke and the 39 of Daniel Falkingham, but for the most part, these cars up here, couple of scuffs, couple of scrapes, they're relatively clean compared to a guy like Glenn Campbell who's missing the front bumper cover on that number 44.
Yes, a lot of give and take there for Trey Eidson as the 39 got backed up here, and Eidson was able to ease out and prevent from crashing. So these top guys, they have good situational awareness. Eidson getting everything he can up against the wall. The sparks coming off here, even in the daylight, you can see how hard he's charging. He drives down underneath Falkingham trying to pick up that position. And unfortunately, the 41 of O'Rourke kind of blocked his way. O'Rourke pushes hard up into the corner. Boy, these guys are on it right now.
And that's a caution right there. That's Trey Eidson around. I believe that might be Tommy Ryan or David Comstock in behind him. But that, again, precipitated by Trey having that car saved. And then I think it was the second half of the incident, Paul, that ultimately put us under yellow.
Yeah, nailed it right on the head. The 5 car lost the back end of the car. You can see he kind of checks up real quick, loses the back end of the car, does a fantastic job saving it, loses it once again, and he gets a little bit of help there. But then there's another where you can see Tommy Ryan there in the 99 spun around in this the second incident that kind of triggered up here between Kevin Brown and the number 8 car of Randy Yoakum. Both of them running up in the high side. There you can see the smoke and just kind of a knee-jerk reaction. A lot of these drivers just looking for a spot to not be in the wreck, and unfortunately they found themselves in a parking lot here on the front stretch.
So you see from the replay all the drivers pulling away, and a couple of them just kind of got checked up. Maybe a little bump and bruise here and there as they stream around the pace car. And unfortunate for the number 26 Goya car. That car damaged and not looking like it's up to pace. Tough break for he's been having so many good runs, Jose Gonzalez, but short track has not been favorable to that car. It looks like somebody stepped on the can.
And Brian Macklin also done after that most recent caution flag. And there's another driver that's had a dismal season after Daytona. Just can't put it together. And I don't want to bring in the idea, I think you have to finish this at top 30, Kevin, to get into the playoffs. With that win, there's some of these drivers that might, I don't want to say hit the panic button, but maybe think in the back of their mind, I got to start getting some points, because if not, I might be in danger of being around that bubble even with a win.
Yeah, I would hope with 2 wins, Macklin's not going to find himself in that, but this has got to be the 3rd or 4th race that we know of that he's had to check out about halfway through. So certainly not gaining any season points, but there's still a lot of races to go till we get to the championship 10, and Macklin is fast enough to be able to get himself out of trouble. But you're right, Tim. He's just had, like Gilliland, you could almost say the two of them, just a terrible season.
It definitely hasn't gone his way, and especially before halfway in this race. We're not even to lap 100. We're going to get there. It's getting close. But Donnie Lee in the 29, still holding strong out in front. But with the way this race is playing out, Kevin, when he pits, when EJ O'Rourke and Daniel Falkingham, when those drivers decide to finally come down pit road, they're probably going to be in traffic because everybody behind them, most of them are on differing strategies. So as much as we say now, hey, the cautions are slowing us down and we don't have a rhythm and whatever else, eventually the dynamic of this race up in front is going to change, just a matter of when.
Yeah, I want to come back to Adam Gilliland, what he had said, and countering off your comments there. Too much grip. I don't think I've ever heard anybody complain that the cars had so much grip. That was a very interesting and astute observation he had.
Absolutely, and he's been around this iRacing service and this car and this build for so long. So if it's somebody that knows their way around and has been here for a while, it's definitely Adam Gilliland. But we're getting ready to come to green.
Taraska down on the bottom right to the door panel, looking for 29 to kick it off. And Leah again gets a good jump. He was a little slow on that start, but he didn't beat Kyle Taraska by much. Out of turn number 2, Taraska peaks low, not going to be able to do it, pulls back into the tire tracks, and just as soon as he goes to take another peek, well, the yellow flag's going to come out one more time.
And we have a parking lot in turn number 3 and 4. There's probably going to be a wholesale on pixels tonight. Byron Daly's going to have some over there in turn number 3 and 4, and almost looks like somebody almost did a pirouette back there, but I think it starts, Paul, with Byron Daly and maybe Josh Parker.
Yeah, we saw Parker definitely involved there in the 23 Interstate Battery Bud Light car, and going to pull up the Kong Beer Bong instant replay, and going to take a nice wide-angle shot here of the start, because it looks like, almost everybody was involved here from Parker on back. There you can see a car just didn't go on the start, and you can see Josh Parker actually gets by. He was almost in that 5th position, and then Fuller comes up on the outside. Those two drivers make contact. Oh, Fuller flips. Fuller's up on his lid, up on the outside wall. And here you can see the rest of the field really just piling into the event here. There's Fuller still sticks the landing, all 4 tires there. So we're going to take a peek at the 51 once again. But better half than of this field really involved in this one here. We're going to take one more look at the contact between the 51 and the 23 as they come in here. And you can see there's the 23 down low, kind of comes up, and 2 drivers going for the same piece of real estate. That was a good solid flip there by Fuller. I'll give him a 10 out of that on style points. And we saw it off camera. He stuck the landing there. Obviously, we're going to put, there we go, all 4 tires on the ground. Grabs the gear, gets right going. That's commitment right there from Justin Fuller, but tough break because that car's totaled.
Well, I tell you, speed cautions. You could just see that the drivers were on their brakes. You would imagine at this point, Tim, that the drivers would be leery and leaving gaps for the inevitable. And unfortunately, when that car got upside down, probably from 10th to whatever piled in, and really unusual. What can you say? We're working caution number 8 here. By my count, it's caution 10. I have notes, and I just am surprised to see this from that.
The number is too many. I think that's the general.
As we just cross halfway, this is a Division 5 kind of race where we see 20 cautions in a 200 lapper.
The good news is that if they continue to pile in the way they have, we're eventually going to run out of race cars because they're eventually all going to be sitting on pit road with damage. But back to the issue that we saw there, Fuller and Parker, I don't want to say don't like each other. They don't see eye to eye on most subjects. And I'm sure there's going to be a conversation if there hasn't been already. But I think Paul hit the nail on the head, Kevin. I think the 23 may have cleared himself a little bit there on the straightaway. So I'm sure they'll go back and take a look at the replay and have a conversation afterwards. But again, two drivers that don't necessarily see eye to eye on most issues, having it set to here just past halfway.
Yeah, if you'd have told me coming into this night that we'd be working caution number 10, I would have been surprised at that. But, sometimes I did notice this morning on my walk, Tim, full moon out today. So you have some of those events. But, let's not lose light of that number 29. Great run by Donnie Lee. He's led from the green flag, 100 laps out front. But Tarasca, I'll tell you what he looks like. He means business. He's going to try and put some serious pressure on that 29 right now.
And a little more of a chain reaction accordion effect to the inside, but we got green flag racing, and now Kyle Tarasca going to have that opportunity to try to take it away from Donnie Leah. EJ O'Rourke finds his spot into line, and there goes I believe that might be the 63 of Scott Stenzel. What a great run for him coming back to the field.
Stenzel runs it fourth right on the back bumper of EJ O'Rourke, and the thing that I notice right now is these cars aren't tight. They're literally right to the back bumper of the car in front of them, and that's some of the reason why we've seen what we've seen. Stenzel takes a peek down underneath. Nobody seems to be able to make that charge except for Trey Eidson. He's the only one I've seen make that pass. The 63 went down, tried to get underneath O'Rourke, left the top open, and it was Daniel Falkingham just surged around. He picked up that fourth position. Now Falkingham's going to try to make that low move.
We talked about this this accordion and this kind of conveyor belt effect. Trey Eidson was sideways ahead of the field about 20 laps ago. He's back in the top 10 right now. It's kind of a war of attrition for some of these drivers outside of about this top 4. So Kyle Tarasca's been making his way towards the front of the field, but EJ, Daniel Falkingham, Donnie Leah, they've all been up front for most of this race and stayed out of the trouble. Everybody else, I think, has been involved in something big one way or another. These drivers out back, some of these bumper covers missing, they're almost, don't want to use the cliche, Kevin, but they're almost looking like modifieds.
Yeah, now we see a driver who we've not called at all tonight. Here we are at lap 109, just past the halfway mark, and the 58 of Pedro Mohica has made his way into the top 10. Currently running 6th. The front of that car missing, but the rest of it looks pretty clean, and he's having a solid run. Your point leader under attack right now as the number 44 of Glenn Camel taking a peek in the 5 has made his way back in even after all the extracurricular activity. Trey Eidson looks really strong here tonight at Bristol.
The best of the rest is not the term to use, but you see these drivers back here, they've got some sort of damage, or they've stayed out of it and trying to push their way to the front, like a Chad Coleman, who you see on your screen in the 38 and up against the safer barrier. And behind him, the 24 Stefan Marinak. Haven't spoke his name most of the evening, but that 24 looks fairly clean, at least from this vantage point. The 37 of Elliot Henderson in behind. So you've almost got two races kind of playing out here. Joey Bailey in the 1 and behind them. We've got some drivers that are tore up that are still quick. We got some drivers that might be on fresh tires that have a somewhat clean race car. And then we've got some drivers that are just holding on for dear life at this point, 114 laps in.
I'll tell you, the contentious spots right there about 4th, 5th, 6th. AJ O'Rourke does not look like he has the speed. He's holding up the cars behind him. The 39 of Falkingham being very careful, but Stenzel was behind him, and when 41 got slow into the corner. Stenzel ducked down, went underneath, and was able to drive away. And now he's comfortably in the third position. And looking out front, how about Donnie Leah? He got some green flag race run. He's got a 10-car length lead over second place.
3 wide as they work through Glenn Campbell, almost getting up into Nelson Rivera, and then behind Byron Daly puts Thomas O'Leary in the safer barrier. I don't think on purpose, but just got a little bit close, and a little puff of smoke up ahead of them out, and Byron just got shunted by the 31 of Eric Arnold, and here comes Thomas O'Leary. Does O'Leary do it? Does he get close enough to make him? Oh, he gave it a go.
Yeah, what a hornet's nest. I continue to watch, and there it goes. The 38 got turned by the 99. 99 is now sideways, and they're going to stack them up. Over there, the 44 is in. The 08 takes a big pop. 14 scoots through, and you could just see that coming. Right there behind the O'Rourke car, it was just tenuous through. They were slow. Falkingham did a really good job at being patient. They were beating the back bumper off the 39. He had no place to go, and they were running so close nose to tail there that it was inevitable that somebody was going to get turned, and in the replay, you're going to see who the losers were.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is probably going to be the time you see those 4 drivers up in the top 5 come down, grab tires, because we were running the top 4, pretty much haven't come down the entire race yet, still on 110-lap tires. But there you see the 38 and Chad Coleman kisses the wall just a little bit, kind of slows him up, and I don't think there was any contact between he and Tommy Ryan there of the 99. There might have been a little bit once he got to spinning around. We'll take one more shot at it. And you can see the 38 kind of, this is right after he clipped the wall, and there is just the slightest bit of contact there. Tommy Ryan getting into the back quarter panel of the 38 and sending him on around. You hate it for Chad Coleman, man. He quietly worked his way up right outside that top 5, running towards the middle of the pack most of the night here so far. And couple of dings and dents on that car, 80 laps to go. I don't think we've seen the end of Chad Coleman here tonight.
Yeah, they were just ferocious in that group, just trying to get by the 41 car, which seemed to be off the pace. And if I'm the 41, I'm going to go get tires and welcome this. As, yep, wholesale pit stops going on here. Everybody taking 4 tires and fuel.
And it's worked out for Donnie Leah and E.J. O'Rourke and those drivers that were up front, because for those drivers that pitted behind them, for the most part, outside of those top 4 or 5-ish, they've already used another set of tires in this race. So if they need it, and the way this race is gone, they probably won't, because there's been a ton of cautions. They do have an extra set of tires if they need it, and for those guys like Donnie Lee and EJ and Daniel Falkingham, they've got actually 2 sets of tires still sitting in pit road. So they're well-to-do for the rest of this race if they need it.
And of course, as those drivers who have gone to pit road for the first time cycle through, this is going to restack the driver lineup. Josh Parker has scored your leader with Doy Woods. Doug Roth in first, second, and third, and we'll wait for our scoring monitors to catch up. But Donnie Leah, I think by benefit of everybody going to pit road, he's still going to be somewhere up in that top 10.
Yeah, we'll see where this all shakes out, but I think that was better off than what I thought it would be, because we mentioned earlier that these guys would have to come to pit road and they'd have to fight some traffic. It looks like Donnie Leah is scored in position number 4, so he's going to come out a lot better than I thought he would, but he's going to have Josh Parker and Doy Woods ahead of them, and you can see the damage on both of the noses of the 23 and the 07. Doug Roth, who ran in the top 10 for most of this race, he's going to be up there, and then he's going to have Donnie Leah on the outside, and it looks like the leader has chosen the outside, so this might work out fairly well for Donnie Leah.
120 laps led. That's a really nice result for the 29, no matter what happens here tonight. Daniel Falkingham staying right there with him, following lockstep as the green goes out. Good jump for the number 23. That outside lane with all that traction, well, they just shoot like a rocket. The 43 of Roth jumps to the high side. They're going to be 3 wide coming off the corner with Stenzel in the middle. They clear that up. Stenzel stays low, tries to go underneath Roth as we have side-by-side battles throughout the field.
Oh, and gets a little sideways for it. Going to lose one to E.J. O'Rourke. Pedro Mojica following up in line. Can he get there before Stencil gets up? Indeed he can. Trey Eidson going to get there, and Joey Bailey in the 1 also going to try to pick up a spot. Scott Stencil falling backwards in a hurry, and a shame for a driver that was running up in the top 5. He's going to have a load of work to do in just 75 laps here at Bristol. But up in front, Donnie Leah has returned to the front of the field, and now Josh Parker and the rest play chase. Falkingham has got by Josh Parker, and now they battle for the lead. Does Daniel Falkingham have anything here?
If anybody's hungry for a win, it's Falkingham. He's been marching his way through after missing the Daytona race, and he has on a tear right now. He looked comfortable to follow Leah early on, but right now hunting that low line, trying to see if he can get in. And I'm just surprised how fast Leah went by. I really thought those cars would clog that outside lane. Leah got down underneath, drove off the corner underneath Josh Parker, and set sail. They're out by 8 car lengths over to the number 23.
Yeah, not overly surprised on how they were able to get to the front of the field. As you see a couple of cars in front of the leaders on the apron, but no harm, no foul, will stay green. That looks like Joey Bailey in the 1 who's off the pace, but green flag still out on the racetrack. Battle for third, as you can see it from the top of the Coliseum, and we've got Parker trying to hold off the 18 of Kyle Taraska. In behind, EJ O'Rourke trying to move by the lap car of Byron Daly. Doy Woods is in here as well. Pedro Mohica. Oh, contact with Mohica. And the 5 of Trey Eidson. And we still somehow stay green.
And now the yellow is going to come out. That was inevitable. And what a tough break for the 5, because he's been fast all night. But if you run as hard as that, sooner or later, you might find yourself in a difficult position.
And it was the 83, I think, Paul, of Jason Barham that ultimately brings the yellow flag out. But it starts right here.
Yeah, we saw the action happen right there with the points leader between the 58 Mohica and the 5 of Eidson. We can take a look here now. We're going to focus in on this 83 kick-ass beef jerky car. As you can see, enters into the corner, no harm, no foul. There you can see the 63 still kind of dropping back. He sees the smoke down there and comes around there. You can see Beasley coming around as well. So it really looks like drivers just trying to avoid the contact, the incident that we saw kind of live on your screen there. There you can see the, we'll change this up one more time. Get a nice wide angle shot here. There's the 5 car down low and all the smoke and everything like that. Drivers in the back trying to check up just a little bit, looking out the front mirror and seeing smoke. Some drivers react a little bit differently than others.
Under caution number 12. I just saw the 33 of Byron Daly zip around the pace car. It looks like he's going to be the lucky dog, as we see a couple drivers taking the opportunity to pit. See Eric Arnold going down to pit road. Roth was on pit road, and a couple others coming off to join in. We see the 07 of Doy Woods heading to pit lane for some service. Right in front of him is the number 23 of Josh Parker. That car, well, it isn't even a can anymore. They've ripped the lid off there, Tim.
Yeah, the Bud Light can has seen better days, better races in this Transervice Cup Series. But 135 laps completed this next time by. The good news is that we don't have to worry about the time limit. We kind of said a little bit earlier, if this race goes completely sideways, then we'd have to worry about that 2-hour time limit. We just passed halfway on the clock, 1 hour and 2 minutes in on this race. So we don't have to worry about the time limit in this one, but for these drivers that are in the middle to the back of the field, time is running out in the sense that they need to make it to the front because these leaders have probably made their last pit stop of the evening.
So the 29 has had his way with just about everybody who's been in that second position, but Falkingham's been following him for much of the race here, Tim, and knows how to get the job done. One thing that Daniel has struggled with, by his own admission, even in his interview last week, is car has not been good on the long run. Now, he looked like he was really trying to pace himself and possibly get out front for that. Have to wonder where the 39 stands for tire wear and so on. But, you know, he looks fast enough to mount a challenge.
I think there's a few drivers here that could very well win this race if the luck and the circumstance goes their way, but it's going to be hard to beat Donnie Leah because Leah has been so darn good tonight, at least on the restarts in the short run, and honestly, that's all we've really had this evening. We haven't had that long run, but even when we've had the dozen or so laps, that car has been consistent. That driver has been consistent, and it's going to be hard to topple that. But you got some hungry drivers. EJ O'Rourke, this might be EJ's opportunity to punch his ticket into the playoffs. We pretty much know that Daniel Falkingham's going to win a race before this thing is all said and done. When you get desperate and you get close to the front of that field and you can taste victory lane, and you know this might be the only good chance at least on the horizon, desperate times call for desperate measures, especially if Bristol's pace car going to peel off here.
No doubt. These drivers have been up on the wheel. The one I have my eye on is that 18. Taraska looks very fast here tonight as Leah kicks it off. He's going to run across the start-finish line. And again, spectacular jump as the 39 climbs up and makes sure he assures that he has that high line. It seems to be the preferred way around here tonight. And just as soon as we get up to speed, we're going to go under caution. For the left.
So we will take a look at the 44, it looks like, as the yellow flag comes out. And we'll take a look at the Kong Beer Bong instant replay and take a look from the top of the Coliseum. And Paul, what transpired here?
Taking a look, pulling it up on the replay, just getting the right buttons to work in the right spots here. Right on the restart, we can focus in there in the 44. Kevin Brown kind of comes up from the bottom line and gets up in front of the 44, slows him down just a little bit. And the nose of the 31 car appears to be a popular place to park this evening, as you can see a little bit of a shot there from the 31 into the 44. Granted, he was slowing down for the incident in front of him, but sent him on around. Luckily, it wasn't a very big hit. A couple of quick little bumper car smacks on the 44 Transervice Cup car, and he is down and away. So look for Glenn Campbell on pit road. There's some damage from earlier on tonight. Don't get us wrong there, but we'll probably see him down on pit road, see if we can't get some more virtual duct tape on the front of that machine.
Cars collect behind the pace car one more time. I want to give a nod to that third place driver, the 18 of Kyle Taraska, was talking to him just as the caution came out. I heard this week, Tim, that Taraska, along with Joey Bailey, the number one, ran the Turkey Derby, Wall Stadium Speedway in New Jersey this past weekend, and both of them had really good results. They both finished 1-2 in their division at that race.
Yeah, it was good to see Kyle Taraska pick up that win. I know that win means a lot to him, and anytime you can pick up a Turkey Derby win, that's a huge accomplishment and a huge race to have on your resume. So congratulations to Kyle to pick up that midget win, and good way to start your season on the real side. But now he's trying to do the same thing here, try to pick up a win, lock himself into the Transervice Cup Series playoffs, and he is close. He's going to be on row number 2. He can see it, but you know what? Looking back to position number 6, Elliot Henderson, we talked about him, I think, Kevin, running in like the 20-something if the last time we saw the 37. Nowhere near the top 10, and now all of a sudden he's in 6th.
Yeah, the car looks like it's in reasonable condition. So I was moving honeybees this weekend. I didn't get to go to the Turkey Derby. I'd like to take that in. They had, of course, postponed the race last year from the COVID situation. And another driver that runs sim a lot is Richie Davidovitz, and he has done very well there. I've been there a couple times when he's won, running Legends car and other cars, and it's neat to see the sim racers when you see them show up on your local Saturday night short track.
Yeah, I always love Richie Davidovitz, the FZ09 fan when it comes to the U.S. Legend car side of things. And looks like we are getting ready to go back to green. Lights are out atop the pace car, and we'll see if we can't get some green flag racing in this time. It is Donnie Leah at the front of the field, Daniel Falkingham, Kyle Taraska, and EJ O'Rourke. Personal comfort row number 2, and then in 5th, Pedro Mohica with Elliot Henderson, Tyler Dalton, Joey Gattina, Richard Beasley. Looks like the 22 of Nelson Rivera will make up row number 5. Pace car is in, 143 complete. Outside car is the control car. It's Donnie Leah, and he is gone. Green flag flies.
We'll see if the 39 of Falkingham can repeat his procedure, which is to get back into the tire tracks. He does that. They settled in single file here for that top 5. I love Falkingham. Drives that car hard into the corner, right up against the fence, and then turns it down from the center and really gets a run coming down the banking to the straightaway, and that's going to afford him one of these times a good shot at Donnie Lee, as he is really fast coming up off the corner.
Yeah, you see the battle in for 1, 2, and 3, and EJ O'Rourke now has position number 3. If we were to grab a quick caution, that would mean EJ would start on the inside line. So he wants to get one more, but it's going to be a tall tale because he's got Falkingham and Leah ahead of him. But a great run by EJ O'Rourke trying to get that thing wound up. And by the way it's run here tonight, Kevin, unless he's saving something, he might have a third-place race car. But we'll see how this all transpires. Top 5 have broken away, including Elliot Henderson now in 5th.
Yeah, they seem to be settled in, top 5 being single file. A couple drivers running different as we see. Oh, the troubles for the 41. How did he save that car? It slid across the track. Kyle Taraska hard on the binders, was able to stay out of him. We stay green here.
He is going to tell you that was raw talent, and I don't want to disagree with him, but EJ now has to get back up on the wheel and pick up a couple of positions, and now that fairly clean race car is in between 2 tore-up ones, and Tyler Dalton and Pedro Mohica, and he's got to get his way by, and with this way this racetrack is, he may have to muscle his way by the 58, a winner last week here in this Transervice Cup Series, so they continue to run. There goes the 41, takes that run to the inside. We'll see if he can get there and pick up that spot.
Yeah, that all started with Falkingham coming back up off the corner. We said he was driving low to the straightaway, but then he comes back to the outside, and the 41 was there. They made contact, and I have no idea how EJ regained his composure so quickly. And he's just trying to see what he could do now to salvage top position, as he was up there with the leaders mixing it up, and have to suspect that the right side damage is going to hurt that car a little bit.
But he may be able to hang with some of these other cars who, let's call a spade, haven't had exactly a clean night either. Parker goes to the inside of Tyler Dalton. Dalton trying to pick up that spot to the outside. Great side-by-side battle. Joey Gattina trying to hold out. That might be Fuller in behind him. I don't know if Fuller is on the lead lap or not, but that's a tore-up 51 car trying to get the 14 for a position.
So as you watch these drivers finally circle around here on the green flag run, they seem to have hit their rhythm. Out front continues to be Donnie Leah, just using all the racetrack way up high in the entry of the corner. Strikes, and boy, that's tough to get up there as close to the wall as he is. And I see Daniel Falkingham trying to see if he can find something down on the low line. Car looks a little loose down there as we go under caution.
You had to say green flag run. You had to say it.
Sorry.
We are under the yellow flag, and it took them about 18 caution flags, but we will be going single file restarts after this one. Paul, what put us under the 84th yellow flag tonight?
Well, it appears to be the 44 Transervice Cup Series car, looking for a little bit of TV time, looking to do a little bit of flipping and splitting here. You can see he's down low, a little leery. Spotter doesn't clear him, gets a little bit of a bump there from the O'Leary machine and slaps into the inside pit wall there. That was a big hit. I would look for some radiator damage, maybe some internal damage on that Transervice Cup car. As you can see, that thing's been and dinged and dented pretty much all the way around the racetrack, all the way around that race car. So tough night for Glenn Campbell. Currently scored the last car on the lead lap.
It's been a rough and tumble night there, Tim. They've been up as up. We talked about it.
If Falkingham's coming to pit road here. We talked about he has an extra set of tires, or they do up front compared to everybody else. And even if he takes a set of tires here, he has one more for the end. But I guess if he can't beat Donnie heads up, maybe try to get some pit strategy.
I kind of like this call. I saw how fast the 5 was. And if you're going to go to pit road, this is the time to do it.
Busy pit road.
He goes in, and they're going to put right side tires on that number 39. The car is clean, and if he can get his way back out there, he's going to have fresh tires. Lee is going to have to fend him off.
That's going to be the problem, though, because you talked about a clean race car. You look at those drivers that were sitting on pit road. You look at the drivers that are sitting on the racetrack. There's a lot of cars more, I would say the majority of these race cars that are out here now, besides Falkingham and even EJ kind of shuffled up the right-hand side a little bit of his race car, but Donnie Leah, Daniel Falkingham, their cars are fairly clean. You saw the 22 with Nelson Rivera go by. That car looks okay. Eric Arnold's car is bent up in all four corners. I think Kevin Brown's probably got some damage on the roof. We know Justin Fuller's already does. There's some trashed race cars here. If this was the real world, some of these cars would not be coming back. They'd be going back to the Dale Jr. graveyard. But 40 laps to go. Daniel Falkingham's got plenty of time to get there. The question is, can he get through the rolling graveyard, per se, Kevin, of some of these bent-up race cars to get to the front of the field and not use it up and not get tore up in anything?
40 laps to go. And 40 laps ago, the 29 pitted. So he's going to run 80 laps if he doesn't go in and get fresh tires. And 40 laps for the number 39. If he could pull his way through the field and get back to the back bumper without using out his stuff, it is possible Falkingham just made the winning move of the race. We're going to have to log this one. Pit at lap 160 with 40 laps fresher tires. Will it mean finally the 39 goes from bridesmaid to winner here tonight at Bristol? We're going to have to see. He's going to line up in the 16th position. And the car's been fast, and there's a lot of damaged cars in front of him. He just has to pick and choose his way cleanly back to the front. Gonna be fun to watch, Tim.
It will be. Lights, I believe, are going to be off the pace car this time by, and they indeed are off. This is a single file restart, and Donnie Leah will lead this field back to the green flag. So we'll see now if we can get a rhythm into this race and complete this race under green and get some green flag laps. The downside for Falkingham is that he has to come all the way from the back of the pack, back from 15th. Green flag flies. We are back underway. And now EJ O'Rourke under fire from the 23 of Josh Parker. Parker to the inside. Looking to pick up one more.
Parker going to complete that pass. He's going to move in, take over that fourth position. Fifth slots back to EJ O'Rourke. How about the number 37 of Elliot Henderson running in that third position right now? That car looks pretty good. They got the rookie stripes on the back bumper. And he's just holding pace with these top two right now.
Quiet night, especially at the start. We didn't talk about his name in the first 100 laps or so of this race, but he's methodically worked his way up, kept his car relatively clean, and has been able to run with the top five. And Parker trying to close in on him. EJ O'Rourke still hanging on to a top five run, but it's Donnie Leah and Kyle Tarasca who have kind of pulled away from the rest of this pack, and they're trying to make this race their own. These guys back here trying to catch them.
Looking left from the leader, you see the 39 of Falkingham has made his way up to the 11th position, just moved around O'Leary. He's going to find the going tough a little bit right in front of him as they're running side by side. Holding him up a little bit, he moves around the number 51, but the track is still clogged. He's got to be careful. Bounces it off the wall, bounces it off the 51, bounces it off the wall. Wow, that's not the way to move your way forward.
Right on board with Falkingham as he goes to the inside of the 51 of Justin Fuller, the 33 of Byron Daly. He's making the positions up on the fresher tires, but how much does he use up to get towards Donnie Leah, Kyle Tarasca, and the front of this field? The 39 of Daniel Falkingham has got his way back into a few positions, but now these passes are going to get continually harder as he gets closer to the front of this pack.
We saw earlier that the car did not work very well on worn tires down on the bottom, but right now it looks to be pretty straight. He's up to the 9th position. Unfortunately for him, he was going to duck underneath to try to take that position in front of him, and they got side-by-side racing. And yeah, he finds the track clogged, but yellow is going to come out and solve that problem for him. Has the field to collect again one more time behind Donnie Leah.
It looked like they were wrecking out back, and then it looked like they saved it off one of the shots that we had, one of the wide shots that we had there. But we'll cue up the Kong Beer Bong instant replay one more time this evening, and we'll see what brought out that yellow. But it looks like the 31 once again. But Paul, it starts a little bit further back because they had this they wrecked, and then they had it saved, and then they didn't.
Yeah, we've been doing a lot of that this evening here tonight. We'll see a wreck, it'll get saved, and then it almost like a reaction wreck happens after the fact. And this is what we're seeing here. There you can see the smoke from the 38, Chad Coleman, Tommy Ryan. They went 4 wide. They had it all gathered back up. But there you can see just drivers reacting. There you can see the 31 getting a little bit of assistance, getting himself spun on around, and a lot of damage to that 31. There you can see the 45 driving on by. A lot of front end damage there. A lot of beat up race cars here tonight, and it doesn't seem like we're quite there. Got the single file restarts definitely help, but we'll see what we got here the last 25 laps or so.
Question, Tim, is does this or does this not help the 39 as we continue to chronicle his story? As so far, Donnie Leah has led from the green flag all but 2 laps, 173 laps in the books out front for the number 29. The 39 did not look like he had anything for him, but now as he comes through the field, that car looks pretty stout.
It's going to bring those drivers that kind of broke away near the front, Donnie Leah, Kyle Taraska, those guys closer to Daniel Falkingham, but he's still going to pass these drivers here, the 07 of Doy Woods, the 19 of Tyler Dalton, EJ O'Rourke, Elliot Henderson, and these passes are going to get a little bit more difficult as they get closer to the front of the field. I think, does the caution help him, Kevin? Yes. Does that lap count at the top of the screen help him? Probably not. He's going to get back to the top 5. Does he have enough tire by the time he gets back up there to pass Donnie Leah heads up? I don't know if he's going to, and I don't know if he's going to have enough time, but we will soon see as we have 25 laps to go next time by.
So they'll light him up one more time, and Donnie Leah is just to the point wants to get this thing done. He's been on a rail all night long. The good news for Donnie is, as good as that car is, nobody's been able to mount a charge underneath him. As he sees these cautions tick away under, laps tick away under caution. I don't know, is that a blessing or a curse, Tim, when you're running out front? You don't have to race for him.
It's been an easy night for Donnie. He's probably had the easiest night and probably the only driver that hasn't had any pressure put on him, because when he came down pit road, restarted 4th by 5 laps into that run, and he was back up front and leading this race. So it's been an easy night for Donnie. It's been a somewhat easy night for Kyle Taraska. That car looks clean. Everybody else in behind has a story to tell, and that story is probably not the greatest. Donnie trying to hold on, but that's where the pressure mounts. You got to be good on every restart. Don't spin your tires. Don't throw it away after having such a good night. Getting ready to see one more here. 24 laps to go on this restart with Leah, Taraska, and Parker. Green flag flies. We are back underway.
A little bit of a mix-up up front as Leah is able to jump away, but for that 2nd, 3rd, 4th position, everybody's kind of scrambling. A side-by-side battle there for the 3rd position, but that's going to get settled pretty quickly there as Kyle Taraska jumps in, and Henderson was under attack, was able to fend it off. That high line seems to be pretty stout here.
Absolutely it is, and you can see them out in that second pack right here on that speed shot. They're trying to get some passes done and trying to make it happen, but it's difficult with that outside line being far superior, and some of these drivers having an advantage trying to pick up a couple of spots. You rode on board, I believe that might have been with Falkingham. There's Falkingham there to the inside of EJ O'Rourke, and he's going to try to pick up one more with those fresh tires. I think he's going to get there up to the top 3, maybe to Donnie, but I think that tire advantage is going to kind of make it even, because you see it here, Kevin. He's not pulling a lot on EJ O'Rourke with those 40 lap pressure tires.
Yeah, it gets about 1/10 of a car length every time, and he just, maybe a fender, and he gets alongside, but you do put a lot of pressure on those right side tires as you do it, and, well, that's going to clean out that position and solve that problem. He's going to go to 3rd here as those cars got collected up against the fence outside of him.
Continue to stay green as Daniel Falkingham has made his way and trying to pick up a couple of more positions before this one is all said and done. And you look back there is EJ O'Rourke, and behind Kyle Taraska, the 37 of Elliot Henderson. So they are trying to get what they can here in these final few laps. We're 16 laps to go next time by.
Yeah, going back to that incident there, it looks like Tarasca in the 37 got a little bit high.
And we've got another incident on the racetrack with the yellow. Joey Gattina involved, and that'll bring out the yellow flag, Kevin. And one more replay from Paul. But this is multiple incidents that didn't bring out the caution, Kevin, and I think this one finally did.
It's a good way to look at it. You can see Pedro Mohica getting right up behind Joey Gattina there in the number 14. And I'll have to take a look, see if there was contact there once again. And real tight. It looks like it might have been, well, that was quite a bit of a bump there. Mohica getting in the back corner of the 14. But you can see everybody, for the most part, does an okay-ish job of getting slowed down, not kind of piling into the wreck. A couple of drivers not able to see through the smoke, but Gattina gets that thing pointed pretty much in the right direction, grabs a gear, and gets on going. It's a tough break for Joey. He was running up towards the top 10. He made it up to after starting somewhere mid-back, pack on back. So tough night for Joey Gattina, not able to bring it home with the top 10.
I think that's a universal decree here tonight. It's been a tough night for a lot of these drivers. To your point, these cars are beating and banging, and a lot of them missing a lot of the body work there. The 23, as we see running in the second position on the track there, no rear bumper on that car, but don't look down. This helps the 39. He's going to be right there in the tire tracks of the top two.
And if Donnie Leah takes that outside line, he's going to be able to, well, it's single file, never mind. We're still single file. I was going to say if he takes the outside line, then maybe he's got a chance, but we're still single file. And I would say, Kevin, we're probably single file to the end of it. Haven't seen the message come back along that we're double file. But now, how much of a challenge does Parker give to Falkingham? Let's say Falkingham goes to the inside of Parker here down in 1 and 2 when we go green. Donnie Leah pulls away. If this goes green the rest of the way, if you're Daniel Falkingham, you kind of know you have to dispose of Parker fairly quickly, even though both of them are kind of on that team name. They know each other. They know how each other races. It might be a little bit easier said than done, but you know Parker's not going to roll over at this stage in the race.
Certainly not. He wants to become a two-time winner, and of course, Donnie Leah wants to notch it in. I was looking back at Donnie Leah's season. It's been a challenging season. Finished 39th in the season opener, 41st, 19th, 11th, 21st. He's just had a terrible run, and to have such an exciting reason. This is one of those races, Tim, that turns your season around for Donnie Leah. If he can get out of here tonight with a victory, who knows what's in his future.
Yeah, he'll want to lock that victory in. And for Donnie Leah, if he wins, it means those, Daniel Falkingham might not be able to get the win. Doy Woods in behind, Kyle Tarasca, EJ O'Rourke, those drivers that have grinded out this evening to try to get at least a shot at the victory will not get that win, will not advance per se into that first round of the playoffs, at least easy through Bristol after having such a good run. But it's going to come down to the final 11 laps of this one. It looks like we're getting ready to come back to green. Lights are off atop that pace car.
Take a moment to tell you this race is brought to you by Transervice Transportation and Logistics Solution, a history of service, a tradition of excellence. Visit them on the web at www.transervice.com. My name is Kevin England. Tim Terry is alongside me. It's Paul Showtime Strickland, pushing all the buttons, watching what's going on down there from the booth as we're back to green, and here comes Daniel Falkingham on the attack. He's side by side with that second position, and that's not going to be a question. He drove right by, like the position, he owned it, and now he's going to set sail for Donnie Leah. Leah, again, Tim, great start, but he sees that 39 out his back window.
What do you have to do to get by Donnie Leah? You know Donnie's not going to let him have it easy. If you're Daniel Falkingham, you may have to use the bumper on the Transervice number 29 to put your 39 in victory lane. The Jaws music is playing. Jaws is coming. How do you get by the 29 if you are Daniel Falkingham?
Inside 10 to go. There's no quarter given here. Yeah, Falkingham is stalking him. He's gotten to within a half car length. 29 looks a little loose up off the corner. He's to the back bumper. They run nose to tail as they go into the corner. Falkingham up high, and Looks like Leah drove down a little bit to cover the center line in the racetrack. Here, Falkingham goes down underneath Leah up high. And just as he goes on the attack, yellow here on Speedway, lap 194.
One more time, and it looks like Eric Arnold in the 31 car is involved. And we'll take another look at it with the Kong Beer Bong instant replay. We had a parking lot down into turn number 1. Paul, what happened?
Big bada boom. Looks like it's easy to tell where the wrecks are when timing and scoring. All the miles per hour goes to 0 for about 10 cars. We're going to take a peek here as everybody piles into turn 3 and 4. There you can see Kevin Brown and Beasley on the left side of your screen here, but we're like 3, 6, 8 wide here. 3 wide for a couple of rows, kind of fighting for every last little bit of real estate that you can possibly get, and then everybody just kind of came together. There you can see Chad Coleman getting involved again. The 13's around, the 43 of Roth is involved as well, and just really blocking up the racetrack, the entirety, all the way down to the apron, up all the way up to the wall, and still a couple of drivers not knowing where the brake pedal are, but I digress. A lot of up race cars here towards the back, less than 5 laps to go. It's going to be one heck of a battle up front.
They didn't apparently get it out of their system there, Tim, but this is going to put us inside 5 to go, and the one who did not want to see that caution is Falkingham. I'll tell you what, he was on the charge there. He had just turned the car down and was looking like he was going on the attack to see if he can get past Leah, and the caution came out. So we're going to re-rack him, and now we get to see him try it again.
I'd be quite interested to see what the incident report and the incident count is on some of these drivers. Obviously, Donnie, if he scraped the wall at all, maybe tonight he might have a 2X or a 4X. If you're those guys that are in the middle or the back of the field, I would almost say that we're probably pushing 30, 40, 50, because I don't think there is an incident cap on this race. Indeed, there is not. So I'd be interested to see what some of those numbers look like at the back of the field. But we're going to get a green flag with probably 2 laps to go. It's not going to necessarily be a official green-white checker finish, but it'll be a green-white checker finish. And we'll see if Donnie Leah has enough to hold off Daniel Falkingham, and see how adventurous, I guess, Daniel Falkingham might get with the rear bumper of the 29.
Yeah, I think for Daniel to win, he's got to have the restart of his life here. Donnie Leah has been taking everybody to school here tonight. He's been getting spectacular jumps on the restart. It's a fixed setup. They all have the same thing, but it's really up to Leah as to when he kicks it. And win or lose, a lot of what's going to be said in the podium events are going to hinge on this restart for the 39.
And I think this will actually trigger a green-white checker finish here this time by, as the field will combine the start-finish line, and this will indeed trigger our first of 2 attempts at a green-white checker finish, because we will be going 1 lap past the distance. Lights are off atop the pace car. We'll try this one more time and see if we can get 2 laps in to complete this race. Donnie Leah, Daniel Falkingham, Josh Parker, Doy Woods in his return to the Transervice Cup Series in 4th, Kyle Taraska in 5th, O'Rourke, Henderson, Rivera, Brown, and Beasley are your top 10. And Kevin, we'll see if we can get this done in 2 laps.
Yeah, both these cars going to test the 30-degree banking down there in turn number 1 as Leah slow to the restart here, just easing through turn number 4. Falkingham down below him, and Leah's going to get a good jump. Falkingham, pretty decent restart, but there's 2 car lengths going into turn number 1.
He's given himself plenty of time to make that run and get some momentum on Donnie Leah. Question is, can he get there? They'll come by this time. If they can get to the white flag first, they will. White flag is out. Final lap here at Bristol in the 39 of Daniel Falkingham. Sails it into the inside. Kevin, bring us home.
Side by side into turn number 3. They're going to slide up, see if he can get down underneath. Leah's got a good run to the outside. Leah going to take him back to the checkered and has Daniel Falkingham covered. You got to give it to Falkingham. He did everything he could, fresh tires or not, and just did not have enough machine to get past Donnie Leah. Donnie Leah scores win number 1 here at Bristol Motor Speedway.
And another new winner in the 2021 season for the Transervice Cup Series, and it is the Transervice number 29 going to victory lane. Falkingham and Parker, we'll talk to them in the post-race show. Doy Woods, Kyle Taraska, E.J. O'Rourke, Elliot Henderson, Nelson Rivera, Kevin Brown, and Richard Beasley. Hold on for top 10 finishes. Pedro Mohica, Justin Fuller, Eric Arnold, Tommy Ryan, Doug Roth, Stefan Marinick, Scott Stenzel, Byron Daly, Jason Barham, and Joey Gattina. Your top 20. Tyler Dalton, Len Campbell, Randy Yoakum, Thomas O'Leary, Scott Simley, 1 lap down, Trey Eidson, 2 laps down, Mike Montesi, 3 laps down, David Comstock, 5, Chad Coleman, Jose Gonzalez, both 6 laps behind, and these drivers did not finish the race. Frank Peacock, Joey Bailey, Brian Macklin, Bobby Wetzel, Adam Gilliland, Jimmy Coleman, and John Fowler complete your 37-car field. So Donnie Leah is your winner. Daniel Falkingham comes up short one more time, and Josh Parker, after having the up-and-down night that he had, comes home in third.
What a dominating performance for that Transervice number 29 Toyota Camry of Donnie Leah. He ran and led 198 laps. That's no mean feat here at the Bristol Motor Speedway, and just a spectacular race for Donnie. And I'm happy for him because, like I said, Tim, miserable season, but you also got to look over there at the 39 camp and feel a little dejected for Daniel because he was so close and gave it such a good run. But hats off to Donnie Lee. He earned it tonight.
And I think you're down there in victory lane with our winner.
Yeah, so he hops out of the car here. He's just taking the helmet off and then the hood sock, and he's just going to wipe his face of sweat. What an event. Donnie, I'll tell you what, you look like you earned that one. You look pretty worn out after that.
Wow, yeah, thanks, man. That was interesting there. A lot of cautions, man, I tell you. I wish I could have done more racing, but I guess you take them any way you can. Good run for me. I just happened to be, right place tonight, all night long. Would have started out just being able to sit on the pole and just kept it straight, kept it out of trouble. And man, it must have tore up a lot of equipment behind us, and we're able to just probably should have taken tires there, but was able to stay out and just stay get to the end.
Yeah, by virtue of a 14.779, same as Brian Macklin, but they put you on the pole. I'm not sure how that works, but led 198 of 200 laps. Couldn't call it a more dominating. You needed this, didn't you, Donnie? It's been a tough season for you.
Yeah, just work's just been getting crazy, and haven't been home on time enough to be able to get here. Even tonight, I just made it in with like 10 minutes to go in practice and able to get some laps. But sometimes it's just your night, right out of the gate when I was practicing. The little bit of practice I got, the car just felt good. Everything felt right. You just have nights like that sometimes, So when you do, you just got to make the most of them, stay out front, stay out of trouble. And I was able to do that tonight. So really happy about that. I want to thank Transervice Logistics and SIM500, everybody for putting this on. Joey had a rough night. He's real frustrated with everybody with all the wrecks. So I hope he calms down, and because he's a great league, and Joey does a really amazing job with it. And he deserves probably a little more praise than he gets. So.
No doubt, and he's rather excitable week to week when some of this stuff happens. But take us through that final restart. You had Daniel Falkingham behind you, 40 laps, fresher tires. Did you just look out the windshield, or were you paying attention to where he was?
Just looked out the windshield. Tried to get as good a restart as possible. I knew that was real important. I was going real early all night, so changed it up a little bit. Went a little late that last time, and probably caught him off guard. So able to get enough of a lead to hang on there for 2 laps. So good run. It was a lot of fun. Would have been something else if he would have got it at the end there after I led almost the whole race. But luckily that didn't happen, and move on to next week.
Yeah, well, I can say that this is a popular victory. Everybody likes to see you run well. Come in here and join us and, get those monkeys off your back. What do you got planned for the 2021 season out in the real world?
No, nothing. I've been retired for a few years. But
do you take in your local races or go around or help anybody out?
No, I haven't been to a racetrack or nothing. I'm just super busy with the business, my businesses, and just working. Just real full size, real life racing part of my deal is in the past, and I was able to have an awesome career. Happy about it. Very thankful. I get to, iRacing is great. It gives me that little bit of a fix I need to feel like I'm maybe
Yeah.
racing. Yeah. So that's it. That's all I really need. Once or twice a week, get on iRacing, get my little fix, and I'm good to go. So it's great.
Well, we really enjoyed your performance here tonight. Congratulations. Enjoy the win, Donnie, and we'll see you when we come into Martinsville.
Thanks, buddy. Have a good one.
There you go, Tim. I know you are with a satisfied but dejected Daniel Falkingham, our second place finisher.
I don't know if satisfied is the right word because Daniel, it seemed like the right call, but it's not the right finish. Walk us through the thought process to try to get back to second place.
We had to try something to try to go for the win there because obviously, with me, I'm always going to go for the win and whatnot. So we tried that opposite tire strategy. I think the single file restarts really didn't help me a lot, to be honest, because we just got put so much further back on the restarts compared to where we could have been if it was double file. But we think we got the breaks we needed. I think Elliot Henderson and Taraska got into it too, so that allowed us to pick up a few more spots, which made my job a bit easier. And then we got around Josh on the restart, just had that much fresh tires. And I didn't need that last caution because I think if I could have had enough flaps, I maybe could have gotten him. Because, heck, we were almost to his door going into 3 on the last lap, and it took me 2 laps to get there. So, but really at the end, my tires were really starting to equal out with everyone else because I just put so much stress on them. They were just starting to even out and whatnot. So by the time I got to Donnie, it was going to be really hard to get to him. But I just needed those laps at the end because the green-white checker wasn't going to cut it. But so proud we were able to come back to the field, get P2, and unfortunately finished second again. And I'm on a good roll, I guess. But thankfully, we're talking to you guys when it matters. So at least that shows us we've been having really good finishes the last few weeks.
Every week, obviously, pit strategy didn't work this week. What are you going to do to park this thing in victory lane?
Let's see. Maybe I ever tried to go on the right tire strategies or whatnot, but because whatever happened last week in Atlanta with whatever Pedro did, that worked out for him. And then this week we just went for a Hail Mary. It almost worked. I don't know. We just need that lucky break, then we'll start ripping them off. Hopefully, at least we're getting some really good consistent finishes, so that's the best part. And we're getting a lot of really good points as well, especially for Mr. Bill Schoonover with me and Josh as well. Josh finished in third as well. So just and honestly, just try to stay out of trouble because I was surprised how much trouble we got involved in tonight. It was really messy. I had probably the worst looking car I've had at the end of one of these races. So was through a lot tonight, but if we can just keep putting these solid finishes together, the win's going to come, and hopefully we can do it at Martinsville in a few weeks.
Considering the cars behind you, your car looks fairly clean comparing to them. Who's on this race car that makes it happen? Who's on the team to get this 39 to a second place finish?
Yeah, I got to thank First Rate Bait Labs 207 for all they do, for all their support. I also got to thank Joey and everyone at SIM500 who runs the show. Really would have liked to run Bristol Dirt tonight. I don't know if that would have changed how the racing would have been tonight, but it was definitely a messy one, and it was bound to happen. But we're going to have to get through it somehow. Appreciate everyone who comes out races each and every week. Thanks to everyone at Team Name, Chad Coleman, David Comstock, Josh Parker, Richard Beasley, Doy Woods, Pedro Mohica, all those guys, everyone else I'm forgetting. Thank you to Bill Schoonover for Schoonover Motorsports, getting him all the points. Thank you to him for kind of taking me under his wing with the team and whatnot. Also, thank you guys for putting on the broadcast. It's definitely going to be an interesting one to go back and watch. And also, thank you to everyone who watched the race each and every week. And thanks to Transervice for sponsoring the series.
That's Daniel Falkingham. Made it interesting at the end with the pit strategy to come home with a second-place finish. But, Kevin, it's another second-place finish for that driver. And roll out the red carpet. It's good to see this guy back up in the top 3. You've caught up, Kevin, with Josh Parker. Kevin?
Yep, just like Paul said, sometimes when you push the button, it works better. Josh, third place finish, extracurricular activity tonight, to say the least. How did you crawl your way back to a third place finish?
Yeah, honestly, I was trying to use pit strategy. I was talking over with my spotter, Adam, on what I can do with tires, try to equal out my damage. I mean, we had damage from the start of the race when someone in the back wrecked and they were sitting on the track, and I ran in the back of Doy. So I had a minute of damage early, and then we got caught up in a couple more wrecks, and just I cleared myself off Fuller, kind of made the situation a lot worse. But we used pit strategy to try to get back up there. Definitely couldn't go after Donnie head to head, even with fresher tires, because it was just I was off pace. So my best chance was to let Dan kind of go by when he got to me, and hopefully they got together. But I can't be upset with the third. I think after that.
Yeah, I know throughout the night we called a number of incidents, but at some point you rose to the front. You're the only other person that led a couple laps here tonight. And it looks like you pitted, around lap 120. Did you pit after that, or just kind of ride your way through the field to see if you can get up front?
Yeah, I pitted one more time on like lap 140, 150, just to use my last set. And like I said, the only way I had a chance was to have a better set of tires than everyone else. Head to head, my car was just off pace. So this track is more or less, if you start where you're going to run where you start, unless you kind of make a mistake, put yourself in the wall or whatnot. So I was trying to play a little strategy to get the restart late, and hopefully it was just wreck on wreck on wreck, but they changed it to SIM500 restart, so that kind of destroyed that idea. But yeah, it's normally the way this track is once you get out to the lead, it's really hard to pass you unless we have a really long round, in which the race is only 200 laps, so you would need half the race to go green to make anything actually matter.
Yeah, so you're currently racking up a bunch of top 10s. You got 5 of them in a row here since March 1st. Not a bad way to roll through the spring here. And third place finish, not too bad. You'll take that, I guess, given what happened here tonight. Heading to Martinsville, how do you do there?
Is Martinsville next?
I thought that's what we had scheduled. We have an off week, do we not? I should.
Yeah, we go, I think we go Rockingham. I don't know why.
I gotta go look.
Anyway, wherever we run,
wherever we run.
Yeah, if it's Martinsville, it's Rockingham.
Got some momentum going for you.
Yeah,
there.
I mean, either track's good for me. I feel like I'm good at Rockingham. Martinsville, I could have won this race last year. I got moved out of the way on the last lap to finish second. So, either one of those tracks, I'll be okay with. We have good momentum. We had a bad race at Homestead, and that's pretty much it. I mean, I felt like I could have won Auto Club, but tire strategy came into play. And tire strategy came into play last week at Atlanta. So, all in all, we've had a good season. So I can't complain.
Yep, you have it right. We're going to Rockingham. I forgot that we changed up the schedule here and there to take some of these tracks out of the mix. And it is Rockingham on April 12th after an off week for April 5th. So how about it, Josh? Who gets the job done for you here? Third place tonight. How about some thank yous for those who support you?
Yeah, I got to give a shout out to Joe Gibbs Racing. Everything they do for me on the NASCAR Heat side, Interstate Batteries, Larry, and Charlie. They do a good job for me. We're in our off season on NASCAR Heat, so waiting for that to ramble back up. Bill Schoonover, I got to teach Folkenham how to say Schoonover, because this Schoonover, whatever he's calling him is pissing me off. So I got to freaking fix that.
He's been Bill Schoonover as long as I've known him.
Yeah, I mean, what the heck is it? Like Schoonover, like there's no shoe in there. It's SCHOE. Like, I don't know. These kids, they don't even go to school anymore. They teach themselves at home. They don't know what the hell they're doing. So
that's the main accent, though, Josh. You should know that.
Yeah, whatever it is, man. This is a COVID talk. That's what we have to look forward to in 20 years. Is that kid being a grown adult and running this country. So. He can't even say Schoonover right, but I got to thank Bill. I've known Bill for a long, long time. We put the Jason Williams paint scheme together, just for this reason, to run good and run up front. I think we're coming up on 10 years, since he's passed. So, it's a big deal for us to run it, and he always had this car up front with Bill back in the day. So it's good to run really well this year.
Yeah, thanks, Josh. Always fun to talk to you, and glad to see you're coming out of here tonight with a third place finish. It was a lot of work, I'm sure, but yep, you can put that one in the mirror. And we're going to Rockingham, so good luck there.
Yep, Rockingham. Yeah, have a good Easter. Unless you're Jewish like me, you don't celebrate Easter, then have a good Sunday.
Yep, Sunday.
do whatever it is you guys do. Tim Terry, Doy Woods, I don't know why he's here. Paul Strickland, everybody, give a shout out to Joey Katina for paying for all this, even though we did. But you guys do a good broadcast. I enjoy watching it to see what happens at the, Monday when I'm bored and doing nothing. Because if I had something else to do, I don't be watching broadcast.
That's a ringing endorsement. How you doing over there, Paul? We got stuff going on, and we've worked our way through the top three.
Whoa. Paul's not coming in here yet. Josh ruined the surprise. We're going to Doy Woods, who finished in fourth. I haven't had an opportunity to speak to Doy in a long while, so we're going to take this opportunity to give Doy some airtime. Doy, where did you come from tonight?
Oh, I come out of nowhere to let everybody know that the best has finally got his stuff right, and I'm here to conquer and let everybody know they bow down to the master because the master has arrived.
Let's be honest. You've seen better races than this. There was a few cautions here tonight, but how did you were up front, you were out back. How did you hang on and come back to a fourth place run?
Just cool, calm, and collected, being smooth as ice as always. I didn't have no front end there. Car was really damaged a lot, but that made it an even playing field for everybody else. So I guess it worked out for everybody else's, for them to have a shot at winning because, like I said, I had this thing wrapped up, signed, sealed, delivered, and it was writing a check to the bank. But what meant to be, but one thing about a race is always another, and I'm going to win that one.
First time we saw you on a Monday night here in a little while. We going to see you the rest of the season? What's your schedule like?
Well, I've talked to, some guys and the big boss man, Joey Katina. Big shout out to Joey. Puts up with a lot and does a lot and, does a lot. And, roll tide, no doubt. And, but yeah, I'm planning on being here most of the Mondays, if not every Monday, because I plan on winning about 20 races and winning the championship about 300 points. Have it wrapped up with 2 races to go. I don't know how I'm going to do that, but because of the point system, but that's the plan. And yeah.
I'll tell you what, that makes my night to see this 07 car come back every single week. Off week, then we go to Rockingham. Who makes it happen for the team? Who's on the race car? Who do you want to thank for getting you a top 5 run tonight?
Well, all the guys that I hang out with, iron sharpens the iron. You've got to hang out with guys and practice with guys that are fast. That's going to make you fast. And the chemistry's there. And, I just haven't been there. I had bad equipment, but now I got stuff from Stuart Haas Racing now. I got a sticker on my T300, and I think it's made a difference. And so they better watch out.
So you're bringing the bacon back to Victory Lane, right? They're sponsored by Smithfield.
Oh, yeah, no doubt about it. I'm going to have free bacon for life because I'm going to win so many races this year.
There you go. Congratulations on the top 5 run, Doy. We'll see you in a couple of weeks.
Thank you, sir.
It's Doy Woods, and we're not even bringing Paul in. We're going to tell you that the Fatheads Cup Series is coming up on Wednesday night. The TCM Weekly iRacing Series is going to kick off the evening on Wednesday. Got some racing coming back. I believe Easter is going to make us a little bit quiet. I think the next thing after that is Tim's Corner Live here next Monday night. So that's it. We're out of time. For Kevin England and Paul Strickland Jr., my name is Tim Terry. Until next week, keep the hammer down. We'll see you at the track.